गज मुख मंडल गिद गिड़ गिद गिड़ गिद गिड़ धुन धुन तत् तत्थै जय जगवंदन वक्र तुंड दानी दाता विघ्न हरण शुभ करण धगिन धगे धुम किट थुरंग थुरंग गदिगिन थै थुरंग थुरंग गदिगिन थै थुरंग थुरंग गदिगिन थै
गजानना लंबोदर हे गौरी नंदन लंबोदर हे गौरी नंदन विघ्न विनाशक गजानना
प्रभो गणपते परिपूर्ण வாழ்வருள்வாயே பிரபு கணபதே பரிபூரண வாழ்வருள்வாயே பிரபு கணபதே பரிபூரண வாழ்வருள்வாயே பிரபு கணபதே பரிபூரண வாழ்வருள்வாயே गणपते प्रभो गणपते परिपूर्ण வாழ்வருள்வாயே प्रभो गणपते गणपते परिपूर्ण வாழ்வருள்வாயே प्रभो गणपते परिपूर्ण வாழ்வருள்வாயே प्रभो गणपते परिपूर्ण
समभजं सर्वभावत तेन शान्तिः समायुक्तः चरामि त्वकुतो भयः न गणेशात् परं ब्रह्म न गणेशात् परं तपः न गणेशात् परं कर्म ज्ञानं न गणपात् परम् श्री गजानन जय गजानन जय गजानन मोरया 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 गणेशात् परो योगो भक्तिर्न गणपात् परा तस्मात् स सर्वपूज्योऽयं सर्वादौ सिद्धिदायकः गणेशानं परित्यज्य कर्मज्ञानादिकं चरेत्
श्रीराम रामेति Sagam hear me? Can you hear me? No? Hari Om? Okay, now you can hear. So all of you enjoyed the masale vade for Sita Kalyanam? That is called pre-wedding. Then there is post-wedding. श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधार भरनौ रघुवर विमल जसु जो दायक फलचार बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। In the previous session, we had mentioned that whatever happens in the macrocosm happens in the microcosm. Ramayana, Mahabharata, as well as the Puranas, such as the Bhagavatam, has itihasa, but the rishis saw much more than what we know or what we understand. These are also books of knowledge for our meditation. And therefore Gurudev called it, it is mysticism at its highest. In fact, when we were in the Yuva Kendra as youngsters, and whenever Gurudev came to the city, whether it was early morning sessions, whether it was the evening sessions, whether it was his afternoon satsangs here or there, or even his bhikshas, we would just gate crash. Yeah. But it was one weekend where everybody, he never got tired, but all the youth, and we had a bhiksha with him, and everybody crashed. And in the afternoon, after lunch, some temple group had called him for satsang there. And he was off there. Most of the youngsters collapsed there. They said, today we have to go for the evening session. So they collapsed. Some of us, 2 or 3 of us, we just said, no, let us go. It was a small, temple flat. Very devoted people that used to go to that temple. Puja Gurudev is actually sitting on the ground and everybody is sitting on the ground. Mostly elderly people also. Luckily, we 3 youngsters sat right in the front, and we got that opportunity to sit right in the front. And that day, he explained the entire Ramayana. And in his most humorous style, he explained what is the inner Ramayana. We have brought out a book also on inner Ramayana based on what he taught me when I was a youngster. And I tell you, if we were not sitting on the ground, we would have fallen down from the chair. In such a hilarious manner, He pointed out to us the highest meditation. Where he went to explain, and as I told you, I will tell you the story and then I will go and explain its inner significance. He explained that Ayodhya means where there is no yuddha. Why? Because there is a king who is called as Dasharatha. Ratha, chariot. Chariot of 10. What 10? What is a chariot run by? Horses. Even today, your car runs by horsepower only, no? Not bull power. Yeah? Bull is something else nowadays, right? It runs by horsepower only or not? And the 10 horses are 5 sense organs of perception and 5 sense organs of action. So eyes, nose, tongue, ears and skin, and hands, legs, speech, and our 2 organs of excretion, which we communicate outside with the world. Dasharatha, whose chariot has got these 10 horses well reined, ready to move on in life, face the battles of life. And where there is a person, a leader, a king who has his 10 horses under his mastery, then such a person rules over a kingdom which is called as Ayodhya. Otherwise, where your senses are not under your mastery, ruled by likes and dislikes, affected by pleasure and pain, heat and cold, your mind will always be in conflict. There is a yuddha going on inside. Remember what we started off with. No? We want peace in the world, but if there is no peace within, there can be no peace without. And without the peace outside, we also cannot be at peace. It is both related. Dashrath is married to Kaushalya. Kaushalya also means what? One who has the welfare, kushalta of everyone. Where there is Dasharatha, a mind that has reined all the senses, yeah, and there is an intellect with a higher purpose for the welfare of everyone, in that kingdom there can be no yuddha, no conflict, no battle, no agitations. And it is to them that Rama is born. We've also seen Rama means bliss. Rama means the knowledge of the self. To him is born. So when our mind, which is not moving in the wake of the senses like the Dasha Mukha Ravana, who is Dasha Mukha, who is faced outside through the 10 sense organs, but a Dasha Ratha. Such a person, when married to an intellect, married means such a mind and intellect integrated. Our mind and integrated, how it is? Emotions tell you something. Intellect tells you, don't. Intellect tells you you should be going in the evening for the Ramayana talks. Mind says, let's water it on virtue. Right? So, that conflict keeps on going on inside us. until and unless our mind and intellect are integrated. Mind which goes in the wake of the senses, as pointed out in the Bhagavad Gita, whatever we study in the Bhagavad Gita, the parallel vision or visualization is there in the Ramayana. Where the mind and intellect is integrated in such an intuitive, meditative mind, takes place the knowledge of the Supreme. Therefore, Bhagavan says, Janma karma cha me divyam yo veti tattvataha. Tulsidas ji also, when giving the birth of Ramchandra ji, he says, Paraina bhava kupa. Such a person does not fall again into this samsara. When that birth takes place, means that knowledge manifests. There is bliss, happiness everywhere. Even when listening to the Guru, when the glimpse of this knowledge takes place, you cannot be just watching there, drinking a cup of coffee, okay, switch on, switch off. When the mind and intellect integrates, even temporarily, the glimpse of that bliss takes place. That is the motivating force that drives us for more and makes us have that faith and confidence that there is something much higher than the pleasures of the world. But when that takes place, then one by one, the negative tendencies have to be removed and destroyed with this knowledge. Of course, I've said you have to understand Dharma, you have to understand Bhakti. You heard it in the morning with all those emotions. Did you feel love for Ramchandra ji like Shivji felt? But when Bhagavan says, one who knows the secret of my birth, and what is the secret of my birth? Ajopi san avyayatma bhutanam ishwaropi san. Prakritim swamadhisthaya sambhavami atma mayaya. That even though I am unborn, unchanging, and the Supreme Lord of the entire universe, so no one can force me also to do something. I'm not under the influence of my karma or vasana, but keeping my prakriti, my nature well under my mastery. Sambhavami atma mayaya. I manifest through my maya. And maya, most people understand is, my magical power, delusion power. Then why would you give your daughters the name Maya? Not because she is delusion. There's another meaning of the word Maya which escapes us when us getting too involved with that Yamasa iti Maya. Maya also means love. I am born only out of my love for my devotees. So why is Bhagwan born? How is Bhagwan born? How is Bhagwan not affected? One who begins to realize it and experience it directly within oneself. That when your mind and intellect gets integrated and this knowledge takes place that I am the eternal witness of all my experiences, before any thought is born, before any thought was there when the thought is there, as well as there after the thought has ended, as Gurudev would say, when the last thought has thoughted, and the next thought is not thoughting, yeah, and you have stopped trotting, that's my addition. At that moment, that infinite, endless bliss is experienced in meditation. And how? When we live a life performing yajna with the blessings of our Guru, this birth takes place. And you find out the secret of your birth, that even you were unborn. You have only identified with this body. And therefore Bhagavan says, having transcended this body, comes to me, the Supreme Self. This is the divinity of my birth. And the purpose of my birth, Vipradhenu Sura Santahita Leena Manuja Avatar Nijmaya Nirameta Tanu Maya Guna Gopar. What is said in the Bhagavad Gita? Paritranaya Sadhuna. For the well-being of those who are good, those who are devoted, whose life benefits many, to protect such sadhus, to protect such cows that are emblems of giving. Men and women of knowledge, following the path of Dharma, I take avatar. This is the divinity of my birth. And what is the divinity of my karma? That Bhagwan has born here to end all those negative forces within and without. And therefore Bhagwan's, all that we have heard this morning about his dinacharya, etc., and his even his simple acts of asking the Guru permission, all this shows the character. Same way if you study Kathopanishad, all these qualities, when we listen about Ramchandra ji and we admire what we admire, we become. As we think, so we become. Thus, those subtle, beautiful messages that make Ramchandra ji be adorable even to his own Guru. When those simple instructions or the simple ideals that we see and we follow, we can protect ourselves from great harm. Then when sage Vishwamitra takes Ramchandra ji, and these are not our interpretation, saints and sages have pointed out, Goswami Tulsidas ji himself has pointed out that who is Tadaka, who is Marich, and who is Subhav in each one of us. And if you bring Ram into you, or if knowledge has taken place, what is Tadka or who is Tadka? That's why he has said Sunu. Who is Tadka? Goswami Tulsidas ji himself has said that Tadka represents Durasha, false hope and expectations. False. You expect fire to be hot, you are not going to be disappointed. But you go to the Sahara desert when there is no desert storm. Those of you might know, right? Yeah. And expect a cold, oh, it's like this, no? Yeah. You are in Texas. Yeah. and you walk out with a cold glass of Coca-Cola, and by the time you reach your car, you expect it to be cold, you're going to be disappointed or not? It is called as false expectation. You know, before marriage, every mother-in-law says, oh, she's going to be my daughter, and she expects that she's going to be the daughter. She's going to be disappointed. Not that she can't be a good daughter-in-law, but she expects that she'll be a daughter, she can say anything to her and she won't keep it in her heart. False expectation. We are disappointed because of our false expectation. We do wrong actions because of our false expectations. And this false expectation, called as moha, is born out of our ignorance. And when knowledge takes place, first and foremost, the destruction of our moha takes place. Our false expectations. And false expectations, if you want to know, go listen to our talks on outthinking uncertainty. During the pandemic, we had given that talk on Bhaja Govindam. Read Bhaja Govindam. How many false expectations we have? Because of that, we've got anxieties, worries, and then disappointments and depressions. First Bhagwan kills is Durasha within us. Durasha has got two sons. Nobody questions why sons are. He's got two sons. One is dosha and the other is dukkha. Dosha means false and dukkha means sorrow. Goswami Tulsidas, she's only given that. Where there is false expectation, disappointment is natural and our actions will be wrong. What Bhagwan did was, when Tadka was killed, he killed Subhav, ends all sorrow. Sorrow comes to an end, but he does not kill Marich. He throws Marich far away. If you want to learn psychology, read our books of knowledge. Your faults, when they are given the right direction, can become your strength. Later on, Marich, we think that he did Ravan's work, but he did Ramchandraji's work only. Your faults that are there, keep them far away. As your mind grows in devotion, these faults of yours itself will become your strength. We have given talks on parenting. I told you everything you can learn from the Ramayana, including how to conceive children, how to bring them up. All that is there in details in the Balakand. But in parenting, what we learned from Gurudev, which I have shared in our parenting talks, these are all available today on Chinmaya YouTube channel, or they are available on Chinmaya Clicks. Netflix, you know, right? There's something called Chinmaya Clicks also. Subscribe for it, spread it to others. What a source of knowledge is there. Gurudev's talks are there. So, in parenting, very often parents come and tell us, Swamiji, I'm sending you children to the Balvihar because, my child is so agitated, he's so restless at home. In fact, when they come to Bal Vihar, we make them jump, say Krishna, 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 Krishna. And they go back home much calmer than before. And I tell them, are the restlessness of your child, don't label them as, AD, what do they call it? ADD. Yeah? Their restlessness shows the energy and their dynamism. Give it a direction towards the positive direction, and these restless children only will be the dynamic youngsters who will make things happen. Sometimes the so-called good doesn't mean that it will be bad. Those who are very, very good, you think they are very good, but because they are very dull, not much achievement happens. That's why you say bichara bala admi. Bala admi can never be bichara. No, poor good man. Good man can never be a poor helpless person. But these are the notions that we carry in our mind. Stubbornness of a child, when given the right direction, becomes determination. Therefore, this is so important for our sadhana. Don't sit and condemn. If at this moment you see anything as fault, keep them away from your meditation. Keep them away from your service. Yourself, keep those thoughts away from your seva. When the direction of your mind is changed, your faults only become your assets. This doesn't mean that I should remain stubborn and obstinate. But an obstinate person, when directs his or her thoughts in the right direction, becomes one who has got dhairya, perseverance. See, there are two sides of the coin. Therefore, he keeps him far away. And even with fear, like Kamsa, like Marich, you keep thinking about Ram, you cannot but become devoted to Ram. Therefore, Marich also thought, rather than to die in the hands of this Ravan, it's better to die in the hands of Ramchandraji. See, this is such a beautiful lesson. That's why Goswami Tulsidas said, listen to this portion of Vishwamitra. I've told many other things in that in the morning. And when you have conquered these, then you are ready for marriage, bhai. Yeah? Today also one young couple came, they're getting married. Next week they say, Swamiji, give marriage advice. I said, I'm a sannyasi, what will I give marriage advice? But by the way, I'm speaking on marriage only. I can give advice from the scriptures. And what Gurudev used to say, any married couple, everybody when they marry, why do they marry? Why do they marry? Why do you marry her? Have you heard the story of the prince and the princess? Yeah. Today you ask any girl, why aren't you getting married? Swamiji, there is no Prince Charming. Yeah. So I said, okay, just find a prince and make him charming. Swamiji, there are no princes only. Okay. Find a man, make him a prince and make him charming. Swamiji, where are men only these days? You know? I said, okay, find a toad. Have you told the story of the... Find a toad, yeah? Make him into a prince and then make him charming. And you know the story of the toad and the prince, right? Nowadays children only know dum 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 dum. The story of the prince and the toad. In college, every girl thinks that the guy is a toad only, you know. Anyway, the story goes that the princess saw a toad and the toad said, "Will you marry me?" She said, "You." He said, "Give me a kiss." She said, "Ew, but please, please, please." So finally she gave and turned to be a handsome prince, and he went on the floor, and he didn't wait for 2 years to live with her and then propose. Yeah. Why propose at all? You know? He just got down straight to the ground and said, "Will you marry me?" Yeah. And what did the prince say? What did the prince say? According to the fairy tale. Yes. And that's always the fairy tales end, that they got married and they lived happily ever after. Now you know why it's called as a fairy tale? Now that's a myth. But Gurudev told me another version of it. He said the princess said no, and they lived happily ever after. So people think that they will get married and they will be happy. Then why do they divorce? To be? See, most men will say happier. Now they're in trouble tomorrow. Person marries to be happy, person divorces also to be happy. Yeah? How can it be? Which means happiness does not depend on marriage or on divorce. Yeah? Or marrying again and divorcing again. What is the secret of happiness? Yeah? Expect the least from each other. In love, accept each other. Give the maximum to each other. This is a secret of happy marriage life. In fact, any life. Got it? Today's masale vade. That's why when durasha has ended, when your faults are kept aside, and you're not miserable. Rote kyon, surati aisi. You know, I do all the duty, nobody else does duty. Oh, my mother-in-law said like that, or my father-in-law is like that. You don't do anything that I tell you to do. What have you got me in marriage, you know? Can never be happy. And if you're not happy, you can't give happiness to others. And others don't get happiness from you, they can't give happiness to you. This is what happens, unfortunately. But the solution is so simple. And this is what Shri Ram Sita Kalyan means. This whole story of this Dhanush Yajna. Even as a little girl, and please do not ever say that Sita, poor Sita. Poor Sita, Sita would not even take nonsense from Ramchandra ji also. Who even as a little girl could move the bow of Lord Shiva as a little girl, which only Parshuram could carry. And that's why, Janak Maharaj said that only a person who will be able to carry this bow and tie the bow will be able to marry my Sita, who herself in her childhood could pick up this bow. He only could be deserving for my Sita. Many people, including Ravan, had come earlier and tried to pick up the bow. But nobody could pick up that bow. But finally, when Janak Maharaj was in such distress, there is there not a man on this world to pick up this bow that my girl picked up as a child? Will my daughter remain unmarried? And Lakshman got angry. And when sage Vashishta said, Uttishta Rama, and remove the tapa, the sorrow of Dashrath Maharaj. And as Ramchandraji walked towards the bow, everybody who was watching, all those mighty kings who tried to pick up that bow and could not even lift even a fraction of a millimeter. Unlike in the dramas that you see, people pick up the bow falls up, they pick up the bow, they put it back on the stand. Nobody could pick up the bow. And here Ramchandraji walks there. And there's a very beautiful chopai. Jinki rahi bhavna jaisi, Prabhu Murati dekhi tin taisi. All the mothers, all the elderly women were looking, they were seeing that young boy, their son, and like any mothers, how can he do it? It will be so embarrassing for him. Yeah. They underestimate because out of their love. Sitaji is praying that the bow becomes light. And it is said that when he was walking from there, the rishis saw the Virat Roop of Bhagwan. Jinki rahi bhavna jaisi, Prabhu Murati dekhi tin taisi. The devotees saw, each one saw their Ishta Devata there. And all these mighty kings saw death walking there, their failure there. Each one saw that. But Ramchandraji, with his royal gait, walked towards the bow. Unlike anyone who was there to show off, to pick up the bow, which they could not, Ramchandraji walks there, comes close to the bow, bows down to the bow. If that bow itself has got such mahima that nobody can lift it up, it has to be treated with respect. He bows down to the bow. Then looks at all the elders and bows down, and finally looks at his guru. And when the guru gives permission, seeing Sita's condition and seeing that, Sita is so restless that if she faints in that, immediately he picks up the bow, and as he strings the bow cracks under his might. Not that he broke the bow, but in his sheer might, the bow cracks, and with a thunder-like sound falls on the ground. Nobody knew what happened. Everybody was so stunned for a moment, and suddenly they realized that the bow has been lifted and even broken. And meanwhile, Sitaji is standing with the garland, down like praying, please the bow become light. Her friends are saying, did you see what happened? Did you see what happened? Come. And then Sita walks towards Ramchandraji. And therefore even today the tradition is the girl garlands the man before. Because only when she chooses can he choose her. And she chose only him and him alone. And then she goes there, and as she goes in front of him, and as she walks so gracefully towards Ramchandraji, Ramchandraji stands there waiting for her to come. While he's waiting for her to come, let us understand why this whole bow. Goswami Tulsidas Ji himself says that and plays with the word bhava. Shivji is also called as Bhava. And Bhavaroga, you must have heard, right? Bhavakupa, you must have heard. Bhavasagar, you may have heard. Bhava means also to become. Yeah? And it is always, we want to become something, constantly. A child wants to become a youngster wants to become an adult wants to become a child. Yeah? Those who are living on the streets, footpath pati wants to become Lakhapati. Lakhapati wants to become Crorepati. Crorepati wants to become Mantri. Mantri wants to become Pradhan Mantri. And Pradhan Mantri wants to become Roadpati. Means his name should come on the road. Yeah. A bachelor wants to marry, and a married man always thinks, how lucky these bachelors. Yeah. See, does it happen or not? You want promotion. But with promotion also comes, Yeah. See, when you become husband, then only hasi band. Yeah. Till then, हंसते रहता था, बैंड बजाते रहता था. इसलिए बन गया हस्बैंड, और हस्बैंड से बन गया हसीबंद. Yeah? Why does it happen? Here is another secret of a happy marriage. The bow represents your ego. It is an instrument that is required, your identity, to face the world outside. But a marriage, a man must know that when he enters the house, he better leaves his ego outside. Because remember, even as a child, she knows how to break even her father's ego by her love, not by her force. Yeah? Only that man who knows how to string his bow and to break his ego is fit to marry a person like Sita. And Sita represents not only wealth, not only success, not only power, but also represents peace, Shanti. Sita walks towards Ramchandraji. Of course, in between, all these people didn't even know what happened. And she goes there and stands in front of Ramchandraji. And Ramchandraji is tall. Comparatively, Sita is short. So she stands there. And Ramchandraji is standing, okay, now garland. I broke the bow. It's a deal. Yeah. So he's just waiting there. And she just looks at him and says, no, she's a lady, she can't go. On her toes to garland him. It won't be ladylike. She's a princess. So she looks at him and says, bend down. He first doesn't understand. He must have thought, now only she's telling me to bend down, what will I have to do? But see the power of love? That even Ram brings his head down and she garlands Ramchandra. Bolo Siyavar Ramachandra ki! Are, Sita Vivaha is there. Bolo Siyavar Ramachandra ki! She garlands. And really speaking, according to the Swayamvar rule, they are married. Oh, then suddenly all these people, were getting restless, but they didn't know how quickly this thing happened. But at that time, Ramchandra to bed head, the friend said, now is your husband, bow down to him. She refused. Not because she's one of those modern things, oh, why should I do that? She refused. But Ramchandraji understood why. Because she was afraid that there is magic in the dust of his feet. Just now only one stone turned into a woman. Yeah? What if a woman turns back into a stone? She didn't want to lose him. So she's like, not because she's an arrogant girl, But Ramchandraji smiles. And now they take her inside. While she's taken inside, suddenly all these kings, losers, yeah. Not fair, not fair. This is a fixed match. They always knew. See, that's why they kept them at the highest place. This is a fixed match. This, that, what. They must have put magnets there, That's why when Ganesh drank milk, you remember some of you? Around the world, somebody went and put tubes in Ganesha to suck the milk. And these are professors. Yeah. Scientific explanation. You say some other thing, but tubes around the world. There are other principles that could be. But see how. So they start making noise. Must be this something, this is it. And this, we won't allow him this, that. Oh, Lakshman was ready. Sita's brother stood up and he said, sit down, all of you. You helpless cowards, you could not even lift the bow. Sit down, others, I alone will shoot all of you, But they were trying to create a revolt. This is not fair, this is not fair, this is not fair. And losers will always do that only, But here's Janak Maharaj's peaceful court. But at that time, hearing the sound of the Dhanush, the bow breaking, which reverberated in the entire world, Parshuram knew that this is nothing but the bow of Lord Shiva that could have made such a sound. And he knows that it was at Janakpuri. He comes angry and he has wiped off the world. How many times? The Kshatriyas? So as he walks in, all those who were near the gate and were feeling very bad, they gave me the last seat. They were so happy. As he went forward, they slipped. But he turned around and said, you sit there. They're trembling in the, not pants, dhotis. And such a Parshuram comes inside and looks at Janak Maharaj and sees the bow broken down on the floor and says, who has done this? Everybody was trembling because this Parshuram will not wait for a second, especially if they are these arrogant kings. Janak Maharaj didn't say anything. Yeah. But Lakshman, and he started, and that dialogue, even in Ram Leela, is just amazing. It's the funniest part, but the whole significance of that is to show the greatness of Ramchandraji. Ramchandraji just stayed quiet, but before he could shoot anybody, Ramchandraji said, who other than your Das, with his smile, he says, who other than your Das could have done it? He says, Das breaks, servants break the things of their master. Actually, servants only break your crockery. When he spoke like that rudely to Ramchandra ji, you think Lakshman will keep quiet? Parshurama or whoever, he comes, stands there and says, what are you crying over? Like that, as kids, we have broke so many toy bows. You call this as toy bow? Yeah. My brother just, toy bow. He didn't even say my brother before he starts, And like that, this dialogue between Lakshman and Parshuram that goes on, where he keeps on provoking Parshuram to bring out all his anger. And everybody could see his might at that time, no? And then when Parshuram got very, very angry, and he said, I'm going to, kill this Lakshman. Then Ramchandra ji, tells him, that we are Kshatriyas, we respect our elders, the Brahmins, we respect them. Otherwise, would not sit back. Because when he started getting very angry and insulting, Janak Maharaj, then when Parshuram said, you broke the bow, all the time Parshuram may say, you are very good, you are, yeah. You may be dark, but his mind is dark. Or what Lakshman is saying. But finally Bhagwan, he realizes, and then even he knows that if anybody can pick up the bow of Shivji, it can only be Shivji or it can be Bhagwan Vishnu. So he brings forth Vishnu's bow and says, can you lift this? And the bow just goes flying to Ramchandra ji. Parshuram at that moment bows down. He says, if Bhagwan himself has come in the family of the Kshatriyas, then my work upon this world of finishing these arrogant politicians, they are also rulers. Now there will be Dharma, there will be Dharmic leadership. My work is over. And giving all his powers to Ramchandra ji, he leaves from there. Then sage Vishwamitra tells Janak Maharaj, according to the rules of that, they are already married of the Swayamvara. But it would be nice that we invite Dashrath Maharaj for a proper Vedic wedding. Yeah? He said, that is very good. And can imagine the message reaches Ayodhya, and from Ayodhya, Dashrath Maharaj, and the most joyous is Bharat. Lakshmana is already with him, making all arrangements. They come to Mithila Nagari. And what Janak Maharaj, the wedding that he has arranged of his daughter Sita. But you know what, when people go for weddings, you all know what you do, right? Yeah. If you go for people's wedding, then Shadi or whatever .com will not be necessary. Because they go to wedding and then they say who can marry whom. No, that is what. Yeah. Janak Maharaj saw 3 more such handsome men of valor. He and his brother said, you have got 4 boys, we have got 4 girls. One is married. Why don't our three girls, complete package deal. Yeah? They were of the same age. Dasharatha Maharaj said, that is very good. No? And like as you heard yesterday, the Sita and the two cousins of Sita, and we call them only as sisters, brothers. We don't even have the word cousin. No? Brother, sister. So each sister was married to each of the brother. Lakshman married Urmila. And like that, their marriage took place. After that marriage took place, it seems it went on for 1 month, the celebrations. Finally, Dasharatha Maharaj tells to Janak Maharaj, I think we have to take our sons and daughter-in-laws home. Janak Maharaj says, no, please wait, please wait, please wait. Even there, how there must be not, wedding, first only the in-laws. My way, your way, then what will happen to the daughter and the son? Weddings start only with such chaos. But here there is so much love. Even the whole wedding ceremony. As such, the family who gives their girl is the giver. But our tradition is the giver should not be proud and the receiver should not be felt low. Therefore, after giving also we offer dakshina. The thank you for giving me the privilege. Yeah. Janak Maharaj is bowing down to Dasharatha Maharaj. Dasharatha Maharaj is saying, you are giving your girl to us, we are grateful to you. No, both are bowing down to each other, grateful to each other. And they returned to Ayodhya. And when they returned to Ayodhya, where already there is such joy and happiness with these children of Dashrath and the three queens, now each one of them have come with their wives. And Anand has returned with Shanti. So you can imagine that joy is so many times more. And Dasharatha Maharaj tells all the queens, we have brought these girls from their homes. Give them a better home than what they've come from. And the queens also loved their daughter-in-laws, and there was such joy and happiness in Ayodhya. And since it is joy and happiness, let us leave it with that note, because you all know what is going to happen tomorrow. Kal kya hoga, kisne dekha? But one thing we can do is be like Ram and Sita. That in midst of all uncertainties, if you are firm in your dharma, no life situation can affect you. And as this section gets over, Goswami Tulsidas ji says, those who with devotion and faith listen to these leelas of Bhagwan, they no longer fall into sorrow. Their life is full of joy and celebration. Yeah? Just listening to it. And how? By listening to it, of course, we have explained to you, but there is another deeper meaning, which I will explain as we go forward in the Ramayana. That what is the magic of Ramayana? That even as we listen, one of the highest psychological therapies that take place, can't even imagine. Today, modern psychologists have begun to discover, and if you get my book, Journey into Health, even for health. There are some CDs, pen drives and book where many of these topics have been there, or again I said go to Chinmaya YouTube channel or Chinmaya Clicks. What I'm telling you is that even your health, if we can know how to use our mind, you will be surprised what you can do. Why it is said by just listening to the Ramayana, you are purified. What does that purification mean? I've explained it, no? But even your toxins of your body, nowadays they call, nowadays there are a lot of mental toxicity. Yeah? How? By just listening to the Ramayana. I told you, story we have all heard. But the depth of this timeless epic is inexplicable. What it's done as far as bringing values to society, all that you can say, but it is much more than that. And how it happens, I will tell you the principle. So we will continue tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Hari Om. The cultural programs continue tonight as well. Today's cultural program presentations are by Chinmaya Mission Chicago and our own Chinmaya Mission Dallas-Fort Worth. Before we get started with the presentations this evening, I have a few quick announcements. Online auction is on for the original coffee table book on Ramayana by depicted in the beautiful calligraphy art by Swami Sarveshananda of CMDFW. Copies are available for sale as well. As mentioned this morning, registration-less registration or participation for the Aradhana Puja. At the details of this registration are available at MSC 2022 cmdfw.org and on MSC 2022 participants WhatsApp group. Please pick up dinner prasad after the program is over this evening. The new MP3 pen drives of lectures and bhajans are available in addition to the books at our bookstore. Finally, today's Yajmans and Aarti sponsors. Pramukh Yajman for the entire program, entire camp, is Pankaj and Manisha Sundi. Daily Yajmans today, Ashok Dandekar, Pramod and Nilima Vemulapalli, Radha Janaki Raman, Venkat Krishna Swami, and Shankar Pillai. The evening Aarti sponsors are Arunachalam Venkatraman, Narottam and Sudha Saxena, Sanjeevi Tivakaran, Shivakami Kannappan, Subhash Joshi, Nilima and Pramod Vemulapalli, Pramila and Ashok Patia. if you fall into any of these sponsorship categories, please come forward right after the presentations. Thank you, and Hari Om.
ॐ श्री गणेशाय नमः। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। शुद्ध ब्रह्म परात्पर राम, कालात्मक परमेश्वर राम। शुद्ध ब्रह्म परात्पर राम, कालात्मक परमेश्वर राम। शेषकल्प सुख निवृत राम, ब्रह्माद्यमर प्रार्थित राम। चन्द्रकिरण कुलमण्डल राम, श्रीमद्दशरथ नन्दन राम। कौसल्या सुखवर्धन राम, विश्वामित्र प्रियधन राम। घोरताटका घातक राम, मारीचादि निपातक राम। कौशिकमख संरक्षक राम, श्रीमदहल्योद्धारक राम। गौतममुनि संपूजित राम, सुरमुनिवरगण संस्तुत राम। नाविक धाविक मृदुपद राम, मिथिलापुर जनमोहक राम। विदेह मानस रञ्जक राम, त्र्यम्बक कार्मुक भञ्जक राम। सीतार्पितवर मालिक राम, कृतवैवाहिक कौतुक राम। भागवदर्प विनाशक राम, श्रीमदयोध्या पालक राम। राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीता राम। राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीता राम।
When Lord Sri Ramachandra reached the forest with Sita, Devi and Lakshmana, a tribal devotee of Lord Sri Rama named Guha came running to meet them. Guha had heard about the banishment of Lord Sri Rama and wanted to take care of their stay with him.
Oh Lord, I'm so sad to see you like this. Living in the forest will be very painful. Please come and live in my home. You can stay for all these 14 years.
Guha, I will always live in your heart. In fact, you are one of my brothers, Guha. Because I have given my promise to fulfill my father's word, I have to live only in the forest.
You can do as you wish, my Lord, but my heart is weeping. So worried about Mata Sita Devi. After living in palaces, how can we live in the wild jungle? There are so many dangerous animals.
So touched by your kindness and care. We also have Lakshman to protect us.
Don't worry, brother. We will be fine. I will take care of them.
Dear brother, we have to go now. Can you please arrange a boat for us to cross the river?
My lord. Oh, boatman! 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 Cave it! Cave it! Cave it!
कभी कभी भगवान को भी भक्तों से काम पड़े, कभी कभी भगवान को भी भक्तों से काम पड़े।
Sir, I'm bringing the boat
desire to see you has been fulfilled.
My dear Kevat, I'm so glad to see you.
I have a small request. Wash the feet of my Lord. Give me some time to do it.
Oh, no. Why don't you wash their feet after they get into the boat?
Please, Guha, I want to wash the feet of my Lord before he gets into my boat.
Let them first sit on your boat.
No, I want to wash their feet before they get into the boat.
Oh, Lord, why can't you wash while they're sitting there?
Dear Guha, Kevat must be having a reason.
Lord, he always acts like this.
Let me listen the reason. Kevat, my boatman, may I ask you why?
Oh, Lord, I have a big problem.
When your foot touched a stone, that stone turned into a woman named Ahoya.
Yes, but how does it matter here?
I'm a very poor boatman with just a little income. I'm making my life's ends meet.
What is your point?
Oh, Lord, that was one piece of stone that turned into a girl. And my boat is made up of so many pieces.
So?
If the dust from your lotus feet fall on all these pieces, and they all turn into girls, how will I pay for all their marriages?
Did you see his point?
If every piece of this boat turns into a girl, I will no longer have a boat. And I don't have any money to get another boat. Lord, please let me wash your feet before you step into my boat.
As per your wish, my dear.
Oh, Lord, you can get down now.
Thank you, brother.
Please take this earring to the boatman for his service.
Dear brother Kevat, this is a small payment for your service. Please accept this.
No, Lord, I cannot accept this from you.
Why not?
Because people of the same profession do not charge each other for their services.
How can you and I ever have the same profession?
Both of us do the same work. I ferry people from this shore to the other shore of the Ganges. You ferry people across the ocean of samsara. How can I accept payment from you, Lord? I don't want anything, but I do have a small request, my Lord.
What is it, Kevat?
I have made you cross the river today. When my time comes, please take me across the samsara sagar. That would be a return to me, my Lord. We wish to be at your lotus feet.
I am pleased with your bhakti, your love and devotion for me. You will attain mukti from this material world.
Lord, your devotees are not just sweet, they are very special too.
Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jagade shayanam, punarapi janani jagade shayanam, iha samsare Bahudustare, iha samsare, bahudustare, kripaya pare, pahi murare, kripaya pare, pahi murare, bhaja govindam, bhaja govindam. Govindam bhaja muramate.
भक्तों से काम बढ़े जाना था गंगा पार प्रभु तिलक की नाव चढ़े जाना था गंगा पार प्रभु तिलक की नाव चढ़े
दीर्घकालोषितस्तस्मिन् गिरौ गिरिवनप्रियः दीर्घकालोषितस्तस्मिन् गिरौ गिरिवनप्रियः वैदेह्याः प्रियमाङ्क्षन् स्वं च चित्तं विलोभयन् वैदेह्याः प्रियमाङ्क्षन् स्वं च चित्तं विलोभयन् अथ दशरथिश्चित्रं चित्रकूटमदर्शयत् भार्याममरसङ्काशः शचीमिव पुरंधरः शचीमिव पुरंधरः शचीमिव पुरंधरः
ta tei tei yung ta ta tam kita taka ta tei tei yung ta ta tam kita taka dhala kuta tadingina tom tam jit tam kita taka tei ta tei kita taka tam jit tam kita taka tei ta tei kita taka tam tam kita taka tei ta tei kita taka tam tam tadi kita taka tei ta tei tadi kita taka tam tam tadi kita taka tei ta tei tadi kita taka tam tam tadi kita taka tei ta tei tadi kita taka tam tam tadi kita taka tei ta tei tadi kita taka
ma pa ma ga ma pa sa ni ni sa ga ma ga sa ni pa ma ga sa ga ma pa ma ga ma pa sa ni ni sa ga ma ga sa ni pa ma ga sa ga ma pa ma ga ma pa sa ni ni sa ga ma ga sa ni pa ma ga sa
dhalla kuta tadingina tom tam dit tam kita taka tei ta tei kita taka tam tam kita taka tei ta tei kita taka tam tam kita taka tei ta tei kita taka tam tam tadi kita taka tei ta tei tadi kita taka tam tam tadi kita taka tei ta tei tadi kita taka tam tam tadi kita taka tei ta tei tadi kita taka tam tam tadi kita taka tei ta tei tadi kita taka sa
ma ga sa dhani sa sa ga sa ma ga ma da ma ni da sa ni ga ma ga sa dhani sa sa ga sa ma ga ma da ma ni da sa ni ga sa ni da ma ga sa dhani sa sa ga sa ma ga ma da ma ni da sa ni ga sa ni da ma ga sa
dhalla kuta tadingina tom tam
rajam
tam kita taka tei ta tei kita taka tam tam kita taka tei ta tei kita taka tam tam kita taka tei ta tei kita taka tam tam kita taka tei ta tei kita taka tam tam tadi kita taka tei ta tei tadi kita taka tam tam tadi kita taka tei ta tei tadi kita taka
सादस रि सरि रि सदा पम गरि सरि ग सरि पम पद पद सद सरि सरि रि सदा पम गरि सरि ग सरि पम पद पद सद सरि सरि रि सदा पम गरि सा
तलं कुत तदिंगिनतो तां तितां तरिकिटतकतै ततै तरिकिटतकतां तितां तरिकिटतकतै ततै तरिकिटतकतां तितां तरिकिटतकतै ततै तरिकिटतकतां तितां तरिकिटतकतै ततै तरिकिटतकतां हतजं तरिताः किटतकतत हतजं तरितै किटतकतदिंगिनतो tak tadingin tom tak tiku tadingin tom drubur tak 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 tak drubur tak drubur tak talam tak tadingin tom
sani sari ma pa re ma pa ni da pa ni sari ni da pa 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 da ma gari sani sari ma pa re ma pa ni da pa ni sari ni da pa 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 da ma gari sani sari ma pa re ma pa ni da pa ni sari ni da pa 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 da ma gari pa 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 da pa pa ma pa da pa ma ga 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 ma da pa pa ma ga ma pa da ni ni da ni sa ni da ni ni da ni sa ni sa ni 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 sa ni sa da ni 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 sa ni sa da ni da ni pa pa da ma pa ga ma pa da pa ma pa da ni sa pa da ni sa ni da ni sa ni sa ni da pa da ni sa ni sa sa ni da pa da ni sa ni sa da ni sa ni da ni sa ni sa ni da ni sa pa da ni sa ni da pa 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 da ni sa ni da ma pa da ni sa ni ri sa 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 ni 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 da 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 pa 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 ma 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 ga 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 ri ri sa 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 ga ma ri ga pa da ma pa ki da ni sa अग्निं संशमयत्वार्यसीता च भजतां गुहां सत्यं कुरुष्व चापं च शरांश्च कवचं तथा निनि स ददनि नि स पपदनि नि स मम पपदनि नि स सरि गम पदनि स सम्पन्नं राज्यं येच्छन्तु प्राप्याभिषेचनम् आवां हन्तुं समभ्येति कैकेय्या भरतसुतः ससरि निनि सदनि पपद मम पगम पदनि मपदनि सा यन्निमित्तं भवान् राजाच्युतो राघव शाश्वतात् सम्प्राप्तो वयमरिर्वीरभरतो वध्य एव हि निधनि स सा नि सरि ग म गरि स नि द गरि स नि द पद द धनि नि नि भरतस्य वधे दोषं नाहं पश्यामि राघवां पूर्वापकारिणं हत्वा न ह्यधर्मेण युज्यते नि स स स द नि नि पद द द म प प प ग म पद म पद नि पद नि सा द स स स प ग ग ग ग प प प रि ग ग ग स रि ग प द रि ग प द स द प ग न हि ते निष्ठुरं वाच्यो न हि ते निष्ठुरं वाच्यो भरतो न प्रियं वचः अहं हि अप्रियं उक्तस्य भरतस्य प्रिये कृते अहं हि अप्रियं उक्तस्य भरतस्य प्रिये कृते सजगाम वनं वीरो रामपाद प्रसादकः सजगाम वनं वीरो रामपाद प्रसादकः गत्वा तु सुमहात्मानं रामं सत्यपराक्रमं सजगाम वनं वीरो तं दृष्ट्वा भरत श्रीमान् दुःखमोह परिप्लुतः तं दृष्ट्वा भरत श्रीमान् दुःखमोह परिप्लुतः अभ्यधावत धर्मात्मा भरत कैकेयीसुतः अभ्यधावत धर्मात्मा भरत कैकेयीसुतः दृष्ट्वैव विललापार्तो बाष्पसन्दिग्धया गिरा अशक्नुवन् धारयितुं धैर्याद्वचनमब्रवीत् यः संसदि प्रकृतिभिर्भवेद्युक्त उपासितुं वनैर्मृगैरुपासिनः सोऽयम् आस्ते मम अग्रजः आधारयद्यो विविधश्चित्रा सुमनस्तदा सोऽयं जटा भारम् इमं सहते राघवा कथं चन्दनेन महार्हेण यस्य अङ्गम् उपसेवितं मलेन तस्य अङ्गम् इदं कथं आर्यस्य सेव्यते मन्निमित्तम् इदं दुःखं प्राप्तो रामसुखोचितः दिग्जीवितं नृशंसस्य मम लोकविगर्हितुम् बाष्पैः पिहितकण्ठश्च प्रेक्ष्य रामं यशस्विनम् आर्येति एव अभिसङ्कृष्य व्याहर्तुं न शकत्तदा क्वनु ते अभूत्पिता तात यदरण्यं त्वामागतः न हि त्वं जीवतस्तस्य वनमागन्तुर्मर्हसि निष्क्रान्तमात्रे भवति ससीते सह लक्ष्मण दुःखशोकाभिभूतस्तु राजा त्रिदिवमभ्यगा तां श्रुत्वा करुणां वाचं पितुर्मरणसंहिता तां श्रुत्वा करुणावाचं पितुर्मरणसंहिता राघवो भरतेनोक्त्वा बभूव गतचेतनः तथा हि पतितं रामं जगत्यां जगतीपतिं कूलघातपरिश्रान्तं प्रसुप्तमिव कुञ्जरं भ्रातस्ते महेश्वासं सर्वतः शोककर्षितं रुदन्तसह वैदेह्या शिशिचुसलिलं वै सजगाम वनं वीरो रामपाद प्रसादकः सजगाम वनं वीरो रामपाद प्रसादकः गत्वा तु सुमहात्मानं सत्यपराक्रमं सजगाम वनं वीरो अधिरोहार्य पादाभ्यां पादुके हेमभूषिते एते हि सर्वलोकस्य योगक्षेमं विधास्यतः सपादुके सम्प्रणम्य रामं वचनमब्रवीत् 14 हि वर्षाणि जटाचिरधरो ह्यहं फलमूलाशनो वीर भवेयं रघुनन्दना तवागमनमाकाङ्क्षन् वसन् वै नगरातैः तव पादुकयोर्न्यस्य राज्यतन्त्रः परन्तप तव पादुकयोर्न्यस्तराज्यतन्त्रपरन्तपः तव पादुकयोर्न्यस्तराज्यतन्त्रः परन्तपः सीतासखस्य सहसा चरणारविन्दात् भक्त्यानते कृतपदा भरतोत्तमाङ्गे आरुह्य नागमभितो भवती वितेने मायूरचामरभरं मणिरश्मिजालैः यद्भ्रात्रे भरताय रङ्गपतिना रामत्वमातस्थुषा नित्योपास्य निजाङ्घ्रिनिष्क्रियतया निश्चितविश्राणितम् योगक्षेमवहं समस्तजगतां यद्गीयते योगिभिः पादत्राणमिदं मितं पचकथामह्नाय मे निह्नुताम्। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताय पतये नमः। सीताय पतये नमः।
Hari Om. Sorry, I missed out one name, one sponsor's name. By the way, if you are an Aarti sponsor or any of the Daily Yajman or Pramukh Yajman sponsors, please come forward, even if I did not call your name. The name that I missed this evening, Rajiv Lulla and family. Please come forward. Actually, it is Darshana Rani and family, sponsored by Rajiv Lulla. Thank you. Hari Om.
आरती श्री रामायण जी की, कीर्ति कलित ललित सियपी की। आरती श्री रामायण जी की, कीर्ति कलित ललित सियपी की। गावत ब्रह्मादिक मुनि नारद, बाल्मीक विज्ञान विशारद। सुख सनकादि शेष अरु सारद, बरनी पवन सुत कीरतिनी की। आरती श्री रामायण जी की, कीर्ति कलित ललित सियपी की। गावत वेद पुराण अष्टदश, छहो शास्त्र सब ग्रंथन को रस। मुनिजन धन संतन को सरबस, सार अंश सम्मत सबही की। आरती श्री रामायण जी की, कीर्ति कलित ललित सियपी की। गावत वेद पुराण भवानी, अरुघट संभव मुनि विज्ञानी। व्यास आदि कवि बर्ज बखानी, काकबु सुंडी गरुड़ खेही की। आरती श्री रामायण जी की, कीर्ति ललित ललित सियपी की। कलिमल हरणी विषय रस फीकी, सुभग सिंगार मुक्ति जुबती की। दलन रोग भव मूरी अमी की, तात मात सब विधि तुलसी की। आरती श्री रामायण जी की, कीरति कलित ललित सियपी की। आरती श्री रामायण जी की, कीरति ललित ललित सियपी की। कीरति कलित ललित सियपी की।
बोलिए सियावर रामचंद्र की, पवन सुत हनुमान की, उमापति महादेव की। बोलो भाई सब संतन की, सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की।